This is just a really quick video to show people how they can edit shots of miniatures they've taken to look closer to what they look like in real life. Very often when you take shots of miniatures and you don't have a very impressive setup for photography, you'll find that they can be underexposed, they can be a little bit grayscale, maybe they'll have some color cast, or they're just not quite where you want them to be. In this case, this little Crix guy, the shot itself is very good. It's nice and detailed, it's not out of focus, but as you can see he's got a bit of a grey cast, and this is because he was slightly underexposed. But that's no problem to fix. In fact, you can fix up nearly any image. The only problem you can't fix is if it's out of focus. So if you've got a photo that you really want to get closer to what the model looks like, all you need is this. It's called GIMP. It's completely free, no strings attached, and you can download it nice and quick. It's an image editor that is basically Photoshop Lite, and it is incredible just how quickly it can fix this. So first thing to do is just drag the image into it. After that, we're going to want to select it and crop it down. When you take a photo directly from your camera, it's going to be absolutely huge, and we want to get this ready to use on forums. So select what you want, go to image, and then go to crop to selection. That's a bit better, but it's still very big. As you can see, this is only 25% of its size, so we're going to make it a lot smaller. Image, scale image, and go to percent, because that makes it nice and easy. Make sure this bar is locked, that will keep it all in proportion, and bring it to about 50%. And there we go, at 100% size now. That's how big that is, and that's perfect. So the next thing to fix is this nasty color cast. What this actually is it was slightly underexposed, which means instead of a perfect white finish from the light box, it's a little grey. This can also happen if your white balance is off, which it could be as well, but that's not a problem to fix. GIMP is fantastic at this. All you need to do is go to colors, then levels, and you'll see these three arrows. Now these are highlight, midtone and shadows. You could technically mess around with these until you get something you like, but you'll often find that it's not very accurate to what the model actually looks like because you've messed with it. So what I would recommend doing is trusting GIMP, because it definitely knows what it's doing, and hitting auto. And there we go. What it's done is totally removed that grey effect, and it's taken it directly away from the entire model, not just the background. I can confirm that that is what that model looked like when I took the photograph. It's completely fixed it up. It was nearly instant, and I've been using GIMP for a long time, and I've not had it make a mistake when using the auto leveler. I've not had it make it oversaturated or up the contrast too much. Now in this case, this guy is extremely dark, so you could alter him a little bit more if you wanted by going to brightness and contrast. And just by making him a little bit brighter, you could probably see a little more. That's all. 10. So there's lots of ways of editing your models. I mean, this guy is now ready to go up if you like. So you could just save him and stick him on a form, and then be wowed by all your friends going, "That's so cool, oh my god." Now you could also go a bit further with this. If for instance you aren't happy with this white background, which I rarely am, I dislike white backgrounds, you can edit it down further to get a nice gradient. I'm not going to use this model because he's quite dark and it wouldn't look exactly right with him, but what I am going to do is close this, close it out, saving, minimize it. I'm going to get my pal Pete in. There he is. So to give Pete a nice background, all you need to do is firstly right click the layer he's on. You want to go to add alpha channel. What that's going to do is allow parts of this layer to become transparent, and that's very important. Once that's done, you're going to create a new layer. Now this new layer will automatically go on top of your original layer. Don't worry about that, you can move it around. Go to gradient. Now there's a lot of different coloured gradients you could use. You could use black one, you could have it coming up from the top, but I would recommend top down. It's always better for this kind of effect. Now I don't quite like black because I feel it's a bit too much, so what I'm going to do is load up my blue gradient that I use. And there we go. Then move the layer with the gradient under the layer with the image and go back to the image. Click that layer. What you want is this magic wand, and you want to have it set on add to the current selection. You then click all the white areas you're going to remove. It'll probably get them all really quickly, like in this case. Underneath him he's a little bit darker grey, so you'll probably have to click some more of these. But that's enough. That's enough of a selection to make it nice and clean once I delete all this. Now you can see there's a little tiny dot here that's selected. Don't worry about that. GIMP will take care of that in a minute. The only problem we're going to have is it's taking a little bit of his claw out as well. Once again, really easy to fix. Go to the little lasso tool and do subtract from current selection, and then just draw around the area or drag. You want to remove from the selection, and it's now gone. It's perfect. So these little dots are pixels it hasn't quite picked up in the selection, but don't worry. Go to select, grow, and grow it by just 1 pixel. That will shrink the selection around the image itself. It sounds a bit counterintuitive because it's grow, but it's shrinking it. But if you understood what the actual selection was, you can understand why it's growing. So there we go. It's made it all a little bit tighter, and it's going to have less little white bits left over. The next thing to do is go to feather, also under select. You want to bring this down to about 3, I find is perfect, but try it out yourself, see which you find is best. What it will do is remove any jaggedy white pixelated edges from around the edge of the selection, so it's a very good idea to use. And after you've done that, all you need to do is hit delete and it will remove all of that white, revealing the layer underneath. When I go to select none, you'll then see he still has a little bit of white around him, but it's quite hard to remove this because he is a very pale model. And there's not much to worry about because when you go to a lower selection, you'll see that looks fine. If you want, you could go back, however. This little arrow here will allow you to go all the way back. So you could go back to grow selection and grow it another pixel, which will bring it in even closer. It might take a little bit of edge off the Mini's paint job, but it will get rid of that white. So feather again, 3, and delete. There you go, that's even better. So that's very, very quick. It looks quite nice. If you're using something that isn't a hideous squig. And the amount of things you can do at GIMP very quickly are fantastic. So you could add a little border if you wanted by going to filters, decor, add border. I like black borders because they're quite striking, and I like them nice and big, so about 30 X and Y. I would add that, and when you're done with it, just make sure that you go to image, flatten image, and you'll see that those 3 layers over on the right become 1, and they become 1 in an order based from top to bottom. So it's exactly what it should be. Then you can just go to File, Export, and that will save that image somewhere for you. So it's very quick, very nice effect. It's actually, it's a bit more professional than seeing the model on top of a paint pot with newspaper behind it, that's for sure. And very quick, free, and fun to do. That's all.